Your abs are made up of multiple layers of muscle, starting with the rectus abdominis and the external obliques positioned on the outside. Then under that layer, we find the internal obliques. And finally, underneath all that, we have the transverse abdominis. Each of these layers of muscle plays an important role in maintaining a flat, defined looking midsection with nice abs. For example, developing the rectus abdominis helps create blockier looking abs. Meanwhile, developing the transverse abdominis helps pull your stomach inward, which gives you that flat stomach look. And the 7 ab exercises that I'm about to share with you are literally the only ab exercises that you need to hit every muscle and develop perfect abs. And the first exercise that I want you to start with for your ab workouts is the weighted decline sit-up. This is going to be one of the most important exercises for developing blocky looking abs. We're positioning it in the beginning because I really want you to push yourself to increase the weight that you use for this exercise over time. The abs require progressive overload to grow, just like any other muscle in your body. So you're going to select a weight that's challenging for you to do 8 to 10 crunches with on the decline. Then you're going to take a seat and hook your ankles underneath the pads. From there, you're going to bring the weight behind your head and lower your upper body down until your shoulder blades touch the bench. Then sit back up to the starting position and repeat for reps. If you don't normally do decline sit-ups, it's important that you first build up your core strength by practicing this exercise without any weights at all. Once you've built up that core strength, I recommend taking a light dumbbell and getting stronger at crunching with it in front of your body against your chest. Finally, after becoming more efficient with that, you can then bring the weight behind your head, which happens to be the most challenging version of this exercise. At that point, the goal is to slowly increase the weight that you're using over time, which is something that most people forget about doing when it comes to abs. By increasing the weight over time, your blocks of abs will become bulkier and more prominent, which helps increase visibility from the outside looking in. Next is a leg raise in combination with a pull-up. Again, I do want you to use a weight with this exercise. To begin, you're going to start laying down on the ground with your hands above your head, holding something sturdy for support. Then in between your feet, you're going to have a dumbbell that you're going to close both your feet around. From there, you're going to raise your legs and the dumbbell straight up until the dumbbell is pointed towards the ceiling. Then really squeeze your core and push your hips up towards the ceiling for a pulse-up. After that, you're going to slowly lower your hips back down to the ground. Then lower your legs and the dumbbell almost all the way to the floor, but stop right before the dumbbell hits the floor and raise your legs again, repeating the entire process for reps. Now, of course, when doing this with a dumbbell, you have to be very careful. I've taught this exercise to many clients, and I've never had anyone injure themselves. But if you open your feet, the weight will obviously drop down. So make sure you get good at this exercise without a weight first, and when starting to use weights, start light and work your way up. If you're worried, ankle weights are also a great option. Next, we have V sit-ups. With V sit-ups, you can use a weight or you can go for a higher rep count like 20 reps. To use a weight, you'll need a medicine ball or a sandbag. You'll begin by holding the medicine ball in your hands over your head while laying flat on the ground with your legs extended out below you. Then you're going to raise your legs as you sit your upper body up at the same time. When you do this, your body should form what looks like a V shape from the side view. At the top, you're going to pass the ball from your hands to your feet. Then you're going to lower back down to the starting position with your hands above your head and your feet holding the ball slightly above the floor. Next, you'll repeat the process, except this time, when you sit up, you're going to pass the ball from your feet to your hands. And just keep repeating that back and forth for reps. Remember that V sit-ups on their own are pretty challenging as it is, so if you can't use a weight for this one, it's perfectly fine to just use your body weight for a higher rep count. Next, we're going to target that deep layer abdominal muscle, the transverse abdominis. Remember, this muscle is responsible for drawing your stomach inward and supporting your spine. So if you want a flat stomach, you want to make sure that you're also targeting this muscle with the right exercises to help strengthen it. And one of the most basic yet effective exercises that can help us develop this muscle is the regular forearm plank. Performing this exercise is pretty straightforward. You would get down on all fours, place your elbows on the ground directly under your shoulders, and then extend your legs out behind you and get up on your toes like you're getting into a push-up position on your elbows. And then you would just hold it. While holding that position, you want to do your best to keep your head, hips, and your heels in a straight line. A very common mistake that can lead to a lower back injury, especially with weights added in, is letting your hips sink downwards. Don't let them sink downwards and don't let them come up either. Both will make the exercise less effective and more dangerous. Once you can do this exercise for 45 to 60 seconds with good form, I want you to try to add weight. You're going to place that weight between the top of your hips and your lower back, and you'll hold that position the exact same way. Now, for your obliques, one of the best exercises that you can do using just your body weight is the Oblique V Sit Up. For this exercise, you're going to start laying on your side with your body weight slightly shifted backwards. So what I mean is that you shouldn't fully be on your side laying on your hip bone. Instead, you should be tilted a little backwards, more so leaning on your glute rather than directly on the side of your hip bone. Your legs should be extended below you, and the arm that's closer to the ground should be extended straight out in front of you to help maintain balance as you do this exercise. Your other hand should be behind your head in the same position that your hands would be for regular crunches. From there, you're going to raise your upper body and your legs off the ground at the same time, and you're going to aim to bring your elbow in towards your legs and your legs towards your elbow. Then lower back down and repeat for reps. You're going to want to do this on each side separately, and even though you can hold a weight in your hand, for most people, this exercise is challenging enough without the use of a weight. Moving on to the next one, we have a basic weighted floor crunch, known as the long arm crunch. Even though this exercise is basic, it's one of the best exercises that you can do for developing your abs. To set this one up, you're just going to grab a weight. I usually prefer to use a plate weight, but you can use a dumbbell as well. In either case, you're going to lay down on the ground and bend your knees to get into a regular crunch position. Then you're going to extend your arms straight out in front of you so that your hands with the weight are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Then you're going to sit up and continue to drive that weight towards the ceiling as you come up. Don't make the common mistake of driving the weight forward towards your knees. That'll actually help you sit up rather than create the resistance that we're looking for to develop the abs. Instead, concentrate on keeping it pointed straight up towards the ceiling the whole time as you're sitting up. Once you get to the top of the contraction, really squeeze your abs and then slowly lower back down and repeat for reps. This is an exercise that I specifically like doing a drop set with. So I would do something like 10 reps with the weight, then drop the weight and do another 20 reps without a weight while still keeping my hands pointed toward the ceiling. Another one of the best exercises that'll hit multiple layers of muscles due to the stabilization component is the stability ball crunch. When starting out, you don't need a weight to find this exercise very challenging. In fact, most people that I show this exercise to will start to shake from a lack of stability just by getting into the starting position before even doing any crunches. That shaking, by the way, is perfectly normal. It's just your stabilizer muscles working. You would get into this starting position by taking a seat on the ball and then walking forward until the ball is in the rounded part of your lower back. Your upper hips should also still be on the ball, but you don't really want your shoulder blades on the ball unless you're using a very large stability ball, and you don't want to be so high up the ball that you lose your balance when you lower down for a crunch. Once you're in the correct starting position, you're going to put your hands behind your head, and then you'll simply lower down and curve your spine around the ball. Then crunch up and really squeeze at the top. Then repeat this over and over again for reps. Keep in mind that the larger the stability ball you use, the easier the exercise will be. And the same thing vice versa. The smaller the ball, the harder the exercise will be. Also, a very common mistake is to extend the legs during each rep. By doing this, you'll roll your hips back, which assists with completing the crunch. So do your best to keep your knees locked in that bent starting position rather than extending them during each rep. So those are the only 7 exercises that you really need. There's only one additional one that I would throw in as a really high rep exercise. I'm talking about 20 to 40 reps, and that exercise is jackknife. Jackknives are great to superset with one of the other weighted exercises that we already talked about in this video. You can do it on the floor, but I recommend doing jackknives on a bench because you'll get a better range of motion and you'll be able to grip the bench, which will help with stabilization. You would just take a seat on the bench and grab the bench with your hands behind your hips. Then you would extend your legs out straight in front of you as you lower your upper body down towards the bench. After that, you would sit up, bend your knees, and bring your upper body and your knees together. Then lower back down and repeat for reps. Pretty straightforward. Now, you can put all these together into one giant grueling ab workout, but it's really not necessary. If you work your abs twice a week, you can divide these in half between your workouts. So on the screen right now, you should see an example workout of how I recommend pairing these together. On day 1, you'll start by completing 3 sets of weighted decline sit-ups. After that, you're gonna do 3 sets of V sit-ups, and after completing those, you're gonna do weighted leg raise pull-ups. Finally, the last ab exercise for day 1 is going to be planks, and if you're really advanced, you can superset each set of planks with jackknives until failure. So that means after completing 45 to 60 seconds of planks, immediately move to jackknives with no break in between the 2 exercises. Then take a break before moving back to planks, and then you'll do that for 3 total sets. Then for day 2, you would start with weighted stability ball crunches for 3 sets. That's going to be followed by weighted long arm crunches for 3 sets. After that, you'll do oblique V sit-ups on each side for 3 sets. And finally finish off once again with planks. And again, it's up to you if you want to superset those with jackknives or not. As long as you're using heavy weight on the weighted ab exercises, just 3 or 4 ab exercises per workout is more than enough and really all you need to develop rock hard abs. But that about wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you subscribe to my channel to get more tips and tricks just like these. Also remember that to get visible abs, it's not just about building the ab muscles themselves. You also have to consider the layer of body fat that sits on top of your abs. If you have too much body fat, it doesn't matter how muscular your rectus abdominis is. Those abs are simply not going to show. So if you want a done-for-you plan that includes a fully customizable diet plan based on your preferences, as well as a complete workout program with a full video exercise library, a recipe book, and a coach to answer any questions you have, then click the link below and sign up for my 6-week shred. You can read the reviews and see how my clients are dropping 20 pounds or 5% of their body fat in just 6 weeks. The best part is that as long as you stick to the plan, we're going to make sure that you hit your goals and get the program for free. We do it this way with an initial deposit because it helps eliminate people that aren't serious about pursuing their goals. And that helps motivate the people that are actually serious to follow through from day 1 to day 42 in order to get that challenge deposit back. I'll tell you from experience, this is the best way to get incredible results consistently because it actually keeps you more consistent. Our secret hope is that you complete the program, get incredible results, tell your friends, and then you continue training with us afterwards. But there's no obligation to continue past the 6 weeks. That's totally up to you. To find out more and to see over 1,000 5-star reviews pulled directly from Google and Facebook, you can click the link below in the description, or you can head on straight over to the website by visiting gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.
Pump it.